as I said, my name is Rafael Teixeira. I'm based in São Paulo, Brazil. I'm responsible for, I'm senior acquisitions editor in research reference books at Elsevier. I'm responsible for the areas of cancer research and oncology, biostatistics, bioinformatics and medical informatics, systems biology. My main role is identifying topics, invite authors, to develop the new projects of the book. So today I'll give some information about that, how we identify topics, how we develop our content, and how this content is developed to support researchers and students in their research, in their academic life. So this is the agenda that I will cover today. So I'll talk a little about how we identify problems based on the work published by our researchers. We also have, I'll talk a little about how our content supports researchers as well, and technology, how we use content and technology to support our readership, and also how we partner with librarians to help them, identify our books and the relevant topics for each library. The problem that I'm speaking here is about the research problem, the questions that research needed to answer to develop their work. So what we do at Elsevier, we have a lot of data analytics tools available for us. So what we do, we dig into that data to see what researchers are interested right now. So the idea is that based on their publications, the number of publications and the topics that they are covering in their articles and chapters of books, we have an idea of how the topic is moving, how the field is developing in the research area. So here you can have an idea of the type of data that we have available. So I searched for Latin America as a whole, and I'll go in more details later. So this is an idea of the amount of publications, scientific publications that we have available in Latin America from 2016 to 2020. We can see the share of different subject areas in the first chart. So you can see that medicine is very important, but we have other areas with highlights like engineering, agriculture, computer science. And using these tools, we can analyze each of those areas. So I'm more related with medicine side of that. So I can go deep in medicine and see which areas of medicine is more relevant for Latin America. So we can see that we have a lot of content on general medicine. So researchers from the different countries here, they are focused their research on those topics, cardiology, oncology, which is one of my areas. So the idea here is that we can have a glimpse of what people are interested in each region, each country, so we can also base our strategy to develop new books based on that. So if we identify that here in the region of Latin America, we have a special need for a specific topic, we can develop a book for that, to fulfill that need of our readership. Here is more in detail I just chose randomly some countries of the region in the Latin America North to indicate, the different aspects and different areas that people are focusing on those areas. This is all related with medicine, again. And this is one part that's very interesting. So as I'm responsible, one of my areas is cancer research. So what I do is I go to our data analytics tools and try to identify the topics that have been researched the most in the recent years. So what you can see in the first chart, this board map, all these expressions and words are topics that are related and they are growing in cancer research field. So each one of them can be an idea of a new book, or at least give us idea to research further to identify if they are really growing or not. So the bigger the word demonstrates how relevant this topic is within the field of cancer research, for example. And in the chart below, you can see the development of the topic through the years. So using that, we can have an idea if the topic is, big, but it's not growing so much, or it's small, but it's growing fast, which indicates that people are become more aware of that topic and more interested to research about that. So the idea is that using the data that we have available, and the main source of information that we have is Scopus, which is an indexing platform owned by Elsevier. So all the content that is indexed is there, which includes articles, book chapters, and communications in conference. So all this scientific data that is available there, we can extract and see what people are interested and what topics that we should cover with our content, because people are having a lot of research work on that. So the idea is that when we develop our book, we are developing them with our customers in mind. So we put ourselves in our customers' needs, in our customers' shoes, to understand their needs, so we can develop our strategy based on their needs. This is something that is an advantage that Elsevier has with the competitors, and you see in the following slides how this is impactful in the way that people use our content. So we can really develop products tailored to our customers' needs. So I'll talk a little about content, the different types of content, and how this content helps the researchers and the students in different moments of their academic life. So I'm part of research reference, so we develop books, and we have this strategy to mirror the areas that Elsevier has the strongest journals. So the idea is that we can also provide additional content for the journal's readers, because I'll show you later in the presentation how people navigate different contents using more fundamental content coming from books to the most advanced and recent development for the field that they can find in journals. So what we do is that we develop our strategy based on the areas that we have the strongest position as a company. So these areas that you can see in the slide are the areas that we are developing our books. So we have books programs on food science, fundamental life science, bioscience, psychology, environmental science, earth science, chemistry, material science, engineering, chemical engineering, neuroscience, economics, and biomedical research. So all my areas are part of biomedical research. So the idea is that, as I said, we can provide different types of content to our readership. As I said, we have this strategy to develop content based on what our readership needs at the moment, and this reflects on the number of citations and impact of citations that our book has. So in this table, you can see that we have Elsevier and other competitors. We don't have the biggest amount of books available in comparison with our competitors, but our books have received much more citations per chapter, which shows that our strategy to focus on the needs of our readership pays off. So you see that we don't publish all, a great amount of books per year because we prefer to really have these analytics tools and understand the needs of our readership and how they are developing their work, and based on that we develop our book. So this high rate of citations per book shows that we are in the right direction. So our books are available and people are really using that to support their career progression and their research. Here's another way to show that. So we have the average citations per book of Elsevier and the average in the market as a whole. So in all areas, we have this rate, a bigger rate of citations than our competitors and the average market, showing again that our content is really on point and developed to fulfill the needs of our readership. Here again, we have in more details in different areas how our the citation impact and citations per book is relevant in comparison with all the other competitors. Even if we don't have the biggest portfolio in number of titles, we have the right ones and the ones that people are really using and citing in their own research. So the citations show us that people are really using the content, they are reading, they are citing in their own work. So the visibility of our content is really broad, and it shows by the number of citations per book, which is much higher than competitors and the market as a whole. But when we are talking, I'm from the book division, but we are talking about content. So the idea is that we have different types of content to fulfill different needs of our readership. So in this pyramid, you can see that we have different types of content. So from the bottom, we have the more fundamental content that are developed in the reference works and major reference work, which is kind of a encyclopedia like. So there's huge books that cover an area as a whole, with different editors. It's very comprehensive, and it gives the reader the possibility to understand the principles of the field. After that, we have textbooks, which are books that are used for education, especially in the undergraduate level. So they are very, with a lot of didactic used to develop the content. So they are really tailored for the needs of students and also the professors who are teaching in this environment. The ebook monograph is the part that I work on. So research reference, we are part of this monograph. So the idea is that we have this topic that is kind of already solidified in the field. So it's something that it can be new, but not, we already have a lot of information about that, and it can be developed as a book. So the idea is that the book is the next step after something is published in the journal. So in the journal, you have something that is very new, fresh, and after a while, you have other researchers developing works on that topic, and we have the book to kind of bring all together and have a broader discussion that you could have in an article, for example. We also have serials. Serials, they are kind of ongoing series of books on a specific topic. So we have some serials that have more than hundreds of volumes throughout the years. So they kind of follow the progression of the field with always new volumes coming up. And on the top of the pyramid is the journals, where the really new and recent and fresh information is available. So the idea is that using this pyramid, we can show that we can cover all the needs of our readership in different moments of their academic life. So when you are getting to the university, you have the fundamental content, you have the textbooks to support you. When you go to the research side or to graduate programs, you have the research reference books, the ebooks that we are talking about here, the serials and the journals when you are already in the field and you start publishing as well in journals. So we have all this covered with our content. And here is just to show some examples of content that we have in different aspects of that. So from the more fundamental and comprehensive to the latest research, something that's really new and fresh. Now I'm going to talk a little about technology. We talked already about technology, about the data analytics tools, but I will cover a little about how we provide this content that we have to our readers. So as I mentioned before, we realize that people need content in different moments of their life, but even in a workflow when they are developing a new research, they also need different types of content. So sometimes when you are reading an article from a journal that is very specialized, there's some terms, some information there that you are not aware, and you have to rely on a more fundamental content. So that's why book is important and is part of this workflow of the research. So you can go in an article and being educated about a new topic, but you need also this fundamental content, something that is can give you the background to use the information that you are getting from the article. And here you can see that you can see how people can, when we are thinking about research, and research nowadays is really interdisciplinary. So people, they need content not only on their specific area, but they need content in different areas, to have this, for example, translational research. And when you think about that, if you have a specific background and you need to understand a topic that is outside of your knowledge, sometimes it's difficult to get to an article which is very specialized, and you don't have the background to understand all the information available there. So that's why you also would need more fundamental content. So the idea is that, I'm kind of migrating to a different field, or I want to explore a different topic that I'm not really aware of that. So I'll go to a different area to have this fundamental content, so I can read the last developments of the field in the article and understand completely the content. So, and this information that we have here is based, on our readership information, the surveys that we have, showing how people need to get content from other areas in their research work, and how they also look for collaborators outside outside of their field, especially when we're thinking about this interdisciplinarity of research right now. So we had this reality, and we had to adapt to that. How we can provide content for people that have different needs and different possibilities throughout their research life. So the idea is that we can do that using technology now that we have this available. So one of the things that we do, we have a lot of surveys and research with our readership to try to understand their needs and how they use our content. For us, it's really important to understand how people use our content, because we can develop and think, oh, so people are more in need of methods book or protocols book type, so we can adapt and provide what they need. So here you can see some quotes of the surveys that we have, with the challenges that our readership face. And based on that, we try to develop the best tools and the best content to tailor and fulfill their needs. Here, this is very interesting. So all this, the red dots are journals, so in different areas of journals, and the green ones are the book categories. This is data from Science Direct, which is our platform. So through Science Direct, we can see how people are using the content live. So this is something that is very different from 20 years ago when I started working in publishing market, because in the past we just, release the books and just hope that people would find the book and would read that. But we didn't have a lot of information about how people were using the content and how this is impactful to them. But now we have this information. So what shows here is in all these dots, we have this connection. So what it represents is that someone that is in the journal, they go to the book content and vice versa in different moments of their routine. So as I said, people are reading an article, they need to understand that specific topic, they go to a book content, a chapter, for example, to understand this more and go back to the article to finalize the reading. So this graph shows exactly that, this movements that our readers do from more fundamental to more advanced and latest research. Here you can see more in details as well, this dynamic of the content. And again, this is, we can have this information based on Science Direct, which shows, we can track how people are reading one content and the other. And this is all information that we use to base our commissioning for new products, new books, even new journals. So we use a lot of this information to guide what we will be developing in the next 1 year, in the next 2 years. So for us, it's really important to see that how is the behavior of our readership and how they interact with different types of content and how this is important for them. You can see here. Yeah. So here you can also see a different way to show that in different areas. So we group different areas, and just to show like not only people are using different content in the level of depth, but also different areas. So someone that is in a chemistry book, they go to the physics journal to read something, they go back to material science. So you can see that people go from one content to another using, technology that is available right now in Science Direct in this case. So people can have this different way of read, using the content based on their needs. So this is something that's very different from what we used to have in publishing markets. And it's really fascinating, especially for us who work with that, to see how people interact with our content and how all the work that we do with data and talking to our customers, how this is reflecting in the usage of our content. So here we can see the workflow of a researcher, so different moments that the researcher use our content. So when they are developing a new research, so they are identifying that the question, the problem of the research. So they go to the definitions, they can explore the subject more in depth, going to the fundamental content. And when they are developing the research, they will need methods, protocols, books to support that as well. So all this, the basis of the research is found in this type of content, more fundamental content in books. So because you can find and explore in depth the topic, and also find tools to develop the research, using methods, books, or protocols books, and that will help you design the experiment or write grant requests. So all these are things that we identified, talking to our readers and having some surveys, and we tailored our content to reflect their needs. This is a case study that we had with Dr. Yoon. She's a cancer researcher. And when we talked to her, we tried to understand how she used our content, in different moments of her career, and especially when she's developing a new research topic. So how, where she struggles, where she finds challenges, how we could help her to advance in her career and develop her research further. So this is something very interesting for us. And what she basically told us is that she needs content, when she's trying to focus on a specific topic. So she needs more broad content, so she can try to come up with ideas and way to approach the problem, the question of the research. And she would need also fundamental content to develop the methodology for the research. And when she's researching, she would search for articles to understand what people are doing at the same moment, what she could replicate, what is something that is new, and she could focus on that. So basically, her workflow is when she's developing the research, she has to design the experiment and run the experiment, analyze the results, and test the solution, and to see if this the work is valid and if it's working well. So in the research side, she needs fundamentals to understand that what is already available and in a more comprehensive way. When she's designing the experiment, she needs instructions about methods, methodology, protocols, guidelines, all this information that is important when you are designing and running the experiment. When you are analyzing results, you need to understand, sometimes, for example, you need to learn how to use a specific data analytic tool. When you have a great amount of data, you have to mine that data. So you also would need a content to that to understand how to use that, because not everybody has knowledge on data science and things like that. So this is also important in the research cycle. And when you have when you develop and you are going to clinical trials, for example, when you are in the medicine field, you also have to understand how to develop the clinical trials, how the best way to do that. And you can find a lot of examples and use case studies in the books as well, and especially in the clinical trials. So this is also something that is valuable for a researcher like Dr. Jung. So yeah, here is just to complement the previous slide. So we can show the different types of content that we have in the different moments of the research, and we can provide different products to fulfill that need. So the idea is that having this in mind, we can develop our strategy of commissioning content based on that. So what our readers need, how they would use the content, and how we can provide that to them so they can accelerate their results and can have a better outcome from their research. So here again, coming back to the pyramid, showing the type of content that Dr. Jung uses and during the research. So you can see that she really uses different types of content in different moments of the research, and all this is integrated in Elsevier content. So we are in this very good position to be able to provide and develop content for the different needs of the researchers. So yeah, and again, the researchers, they are not only using different types of content, but also from different fields and different areas. So this is important also because, for example, Dr. Jung, she's a cancer researcher, but she needs to understand stem cell biology. She needs to understand more about the brain biology because she's specialized in brain tumors. She needs to understand more about pharmacology when she's developing this specific new treatment that she was pursuing. So all this should be, all of this is in our mind when we are commissioning and developing the content. So the idea is that the research now is basically very interdisciplinary and needs the information as soon as possible, as quick as possible, and we need to understand their behavior and develop the content that would be valuable for them. But one thing that when we discuss these ideas with our readership, one thing that is very clear is that, especially in the part of interdisciplinary and even the content, sometimes when you are trying to find something, the content is still split in different content types, so you are going to research something, so you have books or journals. And one thing that we were trying to explore is giving the content to our readership without this invisible walls that we have for the content. So it doesn't matter for the reader if they are reading something from a journal or from a book or from an encyclopedia. They need the content at that moment, and they need to understand the specific problem that they have. So what we were trying to do is, well, we need to develop a way that people can find the content in a more interactive way without having to search only for books or only for journals, in a way that could be more integrated. So we developed this topic page. Topic pages is some pages that covers specific topics in different areas. So the idea is that when you go to a specific topic page, you can find there some excerpts of our content. So you have an introduction that's probably coming from a book because it's very fundamental. You have definitions. You have the most recent articles. So the idea is that it's similar to the Wikipedia, but with the content already there. So if you go to Google and try to find a specific topic, one of the first results would probably be a topic page from Elsevier. And going there, you have all this information and all the links to go to the content if you need to read more in depth. So I'll show a little more about that. So like that. So in the top, you have a short definition, something that you can see, oh, okay, this is what I'm looking for. And you always have the reference, and you always can click and read it in full, because all the links go to the Science Direct, so you can read there. You also find the related terms. So the idea is that, oh, okay, I'm reading here, but I'm not sure if this is exactly what I'm looking for. So you have these related terms that you can navigate and see, oh, okay, so this is more in line with what I need, or no, I just need to get back to the previous page and go further in the information that is there available. And you have, as I said, some excerpts from our books, from our journals. So in one page, you can find from the definition of the topic to the latest information available. And of course, this is just a part of the content, and you can click read full chapter or full article and go there. So this is all developed to fulfill these needs of the researcher, to find an information as quick as possible in different levels of depth. So you can navigate in one page and try to identify. This is an advancement in relation to this research that is very niched and separated, you know, books and journals and things like that. So this is content, you know, people want to read and want to read what they need at that moment, you know, so it doesn't matter if it's a book or it's a journal, they just need that information. So the idea of this topic page is exactly to provide the right information, and people can read, you know, further if they click in the different links and understand more about the topic. So yeah, so this topic page, as I said, you can find it online. It's very easy, and people, it's a good way for users in the library, for example, to access the Science Direct. So if they are going, because we know that especially the younger generation, the first thing that they go is when they are starting a research, they go to Google and try to find something, you know, in Wikipedia, things like that. But when they find the topic pages, they can read there and go direct to the Science Direct. So it also saves time. You know, if they find some information outside, they go to the Science Direct and try to explore there using the topic pages that is available. They can directly go to the Science Direct and the right content that they are looking for. So it's a kind of a way to make it easier for them to identify the content in our platform as well. So yeah, as I said, you know, if you go, if our reader or our user go to Google or any other search platform, they will try to find something. One of the first results will be the Science Direct the top page. And when they go there, they start reading, link, they go direct to the Science Direct. So it's a good way for people discover our content and use, you know, as much as possible to fulfill all their needs, because we know that sometimes we have so much content available and it's difficult to identify, especially for people who are coming in a new field, a new area. They're not totally aware of the terms and the expressions. So it's really important to have something that they can start, could be a starting point of the research. You know, they can go to the top page, read about that, and explore the different types of content. Here is other important thing that we use to guide our commissioning is turnaway. So when people go to Science Direct, they try to find a topic, and if the person don't find the content that they are looking for, we can see that, and we can say, okay, so X number of people are looking for this specific topic, this specific technique for cancer treatment, for example. So this is information that I can use to say, oh, okay, so people are looking for that. We don't have this content available. Or, for example, we only have articles, but we don't have this more fundamental and basis of the knowledge so they can read the article. Why don't we develop a new book on that? So all this information that we get from the usage of our content is valuable. It returns to us, and we can see and analyze and see, okay, so this is the gaps that we have, and we need to fill all these gaps, you know. So we will try to develop new books or new serials, you know, all the information that people are in need. So this usage that we can extract from Science Direct, for example, the behavior of our readers is really, you know, powerful for us, you know, because we can have this more focused strategy to develop the content, which reflects in the citations of the book, as I explained before. So yeah, and we know that a great opportunity that we have is having partnerships with libraries and librarians. It's so important for us that librarians are aware of the different publications that we have, the different tools that we are developing. So we work a lot to make our content visible. So we have partnerships with different companies and vendors to make this more, you know, visible, discoverable. So this is some of the companies that we have partnerships. So the idea is that our content can be visible in different platforms, in different research search engines, and because, you know, this is every time that someone can find the content that they are in need, in the shortest time possible, this is a win for us, because we really want to support the career of the researchers and the students. So we developed this great content, and we want that be as visible as possible. So we need that people can discover our content. So this is some of the tools that we also have available for librarians. And if you have doubts or you have any questions about them, you can talk to us, with me, and with my colleagues here who are developing this webinar, and we can help if you have some doubts on how to use that and all this. And we also have newsletters, different webinars that are available. What we try to do is to have this strong partnership with librarians so they can understand what we are developing. They can also provide information for their users, the users of the library, because we know that the librarian is, the first point of contact of our readers and our content. So for us, it's really important to have this good information available for librarians and have this partnership, so you can find all that you need to support your work and help your users. Here is also because Elsevier has different brands available as well, because Elsevier, we have this, the publication of books and journals, but we also have other brands that also develop content like Cell Press, Lancet, and we also develop a lot of tools to support education and professionals like clinicians with clinical key. We recently Elsevier acquired this startup that is called Osmosis, and they developed these really cool 3D models of organs, and they developed videos of that. So we are integrating their content and their expertise with ours, and a lot of exciting things is coming up in the next months. So this is always exciting, So we have different ways to develop the content. I focus more on this content, text content, but we also have videos, we have animations, we develop different ways to provide this content to our readers. So in short, Elsevier is, our mission is support the researchers and professionals and students to develop in their career. So especially in the research field, which I'm part of that, we are here to support researchers to learn more, to understand more about some topics, and also providing tools to help them develop their research. And we do that using our content that we develop based on their needs. We use technology to develop ways to provide the content in a way that is more interactive and more and easier to find. And with this partnership with librarians, trying to understand also their needs and providing content and trainings, webinars, so we can also have this good synergy with librarians. So this is, I hope that I could give a glimpse of our strategy in developing books, how we think about our content based on our readers' feedback and our readers' usage of the content. But I know that we have limited time, so I'm always available to answer any questions that you have. So you can see my email there feel free to send me questions later, or if you are interested in understanding more about any of the aspects that I talked here, so feel free to do that. And thank you very much for your time.
Oh, thank you so much. Right now, I'm going to ask the attendees that are here with us, if you guys have any questions, please write them in the Q&A chat. And while we have, we give them a little bit of time for them to write those questions. We do have some from the lobby. So Rafael, I'm going to just ask them to you so that we can maybe have a conversation about these two questions that we have. So first, how can teachers promote Elsevier ebooks for their classes or within their classes?
Could you repeat, please? I couldn't understand.
How can teachers promote Elsevier ebooks for their classes?
How teachers can promote?
Can promote, yes. Elsevier ebooks within their classes.
Well, I think a good way to promote this type of content is presenting them to the students, you know. So one thing that is really important, especially in the education environment, is that sometimes, especially when we are at the university, we are thinking about all the developments and the things that are, you know, ahead. But sometimes we have to get back to the fundamentals, to the basis of that. So I think this is a good way. So, for example, if a professor is teaching about a new treatment, a new cancer treatment, and immunotherapy, for example, probably they are, you know, teaching something that is very new and a new type of treatment, for example. But sometimes the students don't have the basic science about that. So the biological aspects of that, how this the immune system, for example, works, you know. So a good way to promote this type of content is giving these additional readings to students, you know. So, oh, you can find more about this, how the immune system works, for example, by reading this book, you know, this chapter. You can find this information in this type of content, because this is something that I think for students especially would be really important for them to understand the different levels of content, because sometimes they get frustrated when they are reading an article and they don't really get all of the information, and sometimes, you know, they just, you know, give up of a research area because of that. And I think we as a company, but professors, all the educators, should have this in mind, you know, to help them understand, okay, so you're not understanding that because this is really advanced level. So you need to understand, give some steps back and read something that is more fundamental. You know, this will be helpful. So sometimes students, they want to go as quick as fast to solve solutions, but it's important to guide them to the basics of that, the fundamental of that, so they can really get to the point, so that they can understand an article, for example. So I think this is a good way to integrate these different types of content and make them aware of the different ways that we have that.
Yes, definitely. And as you mentioned in your presentation, through science direct topics as well, right? Maybe if they don't fully understand, they can go through the snippets of their books and then have this fundamental information. But I do have a second question. I don't know if Tatiana, you would like to intervene and mention?
Yes, I have another question from the lobby. So if you want me, Melita, I can I can ask this one to Rafael. A researcher is asking if is there a site to know more about the ebook publishing activity from Elsevier. I don't know, Rafael, if you can give us a link, you can put it on the chat. So...
Yeah, well, if you go to the main Elsevier website, elsevier.com, you will find at the bottom of the page, there is some links. One of them is about become an author, publish a book, you know, and how to publish an article in a journal. So you can go there and you find all the information about that, the process, the editorial process. But also, you can also send me a message in my email, and I can provide all this information as well. But at elsevier.com, you can find all this information detailed there.
Great, great, thank you. Merita, I don't know if you have another question or if it was the same one.
Yes, well, it was actually the same one. For now, I don't see that they've written any questions in the questions and answer, but just a quick reminder for the attendees and for anyone that is watching the recording of this, Tatiana Castro, who is a customer consultant, and the rest of the team will be very happy to answer any questions or comments that you guys may have.
Okay, and thank you, Rafael. This was an incredible session. Most of our attendees still at the lobby, so thank you for all of you. If you don't receive our email or follow-up email to receive your certificate of attendance, please send us an email and we can provide you with the link and with the code so you can have the information. Also, Rafael, thank you very much for this presentation. I think it was very complete related to the whole universe of ebooks. We would like to have you in another webinar in the future. Thank you so much for your time. And I think it's all for now, and see you very soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You too. Thank you.